21 days of the 2007 Tour de France has brought the race within sight of Paris. Never has the Eiffel Tower seemed so welcome. And for young Alberto Contador, it has never looked so good. After proving himself among the strongest in the mountains, he has laid claim to Le Maillot Jaune. But one more task remains, today's final individual time trial. For Cadel Evans, this could be characterized as one of survival. But today he finds himself in position to turn that perseverance into yellow. In his specialty, the race against the clock. Levi Leipheimer has said throughout the tour, a podium finish would be a dream come true. Today he has a chance at much more. He has grown stronger day by day. But to take the final step, he will need to ride stronger than he ever has before. 3 men, 1 yellow jersey, the penultimate stage of the 2007 Tour de France, and maybe the chances of a career. Here is the race for the yellow jersey, and you could argue that it is just a 3-man affair. Alberto Contador of Discovery has the lead. Cadel Evans is 1 minute and 50 seconds behind after gaining 3 seconds late yesterday. More on that in a moment. Levi Leipheimer 2:49 behind. We're joined now by Phil Liggett and Paul Sherwin, who explains why this individual time trial is a little bit different than the first one we had in the Tour.
Slightly different, but that difference is probably going to be very important for one Cadel Evans, because the distance is almost exactly the same. This time it's 55.5 kilometers between Cognac and Angoulême, but if we have a look at the profile, it's a lot flatter this time, and it should really end up being like a drag strip, and it should suit the Australian.
This year's Tour de France began with a wide-open field of contenders, all of whom had an equal shot at a chance of victory on the Champs-Élysées. Now only 3 remain for the right to wear the most coveted jersey in cycling. 24-year-old Alberto Contador of Team Discovery Channel. He started this race with an undefined role. Now the Spaniard finds himself on the verge of standing on the top step of the podium in Paris. Cadel Evans has worked his way up the Tour ranks for the last couple of years, and now this time trial specialist is in position and capable of becoming the first Australian ever to win the Tour de France. And then there is the American Levi Leipheimer. He's put in the best Tour de France performance of his career. With the ride of his life today, the Californian also has a chance to realise his biggest dream. The fate of these riders now rests at the hands of Tempus Fugit. The ultimate race of truth pits man against clock. This is it, D-Day in the Tour de France. The start town of Cognac, the finish town is Angoulême. By the end of the day, we should know who will go to Paris in the final yellow jersey of this year's controversial Tour de France. Well, it doesn't happen a lot, but the time trial over the last years of its long history has played a big part in the Tour de France. And let's begin with 1 or 2 memorable flashbacks.
Well, I remember 1989. It was the big duel between Greg LeMond and Laurent Fignon on the final day. The outcome was going to be decided on the Champs-Élysées. On this occasion, I got it completely and utterly wrong, because Fignon started with a 50-second advantage over Greg LeMond. In theory, that was impossible.
Yes, when Fignon finished, he fell to the ground. He had lost the Tour de France in the time trial by 8 seconds, but there's always a winner, and it was Greg LeMond. You can imagine that Levi Leipheimer now wrapped up at the start house, ready to keep the chill air out, and then the explosion. He's warmed up, and now he's got to sort of keep that heat in his body. Here, this is the moment now. This is when we get to see the battle for yellow in Paris. The first of the 3 potential winners of the Tour de France. Make sure those tyres are clean, there's no grit resting on them. Lurking in the tread, Levi Leipheimer now, he's got, let me just see, 1.5 minutes before he makes his start, approximately, and time to just compose himself. This is it now. He's had 3 great time trials this year. He has won them all. He's improved his time trialing technique. He spent his winter working on that. Now it's down to reality as he has to step on. He's just adjusting there his heart rate monitor strap around his chest. There's his bike. Dead straight, that saddle. For very shortly he'll be pulled right onto the nose of that saddle. As he gets now, he'll get the call to the line in about the next 15 seconds or so. Even less than that, it appears, because he's now running into the last minute before he makes his move. He's the first of the big 3. Levi Leipheimer, starting from the best ever position he's ever held in the Tour de France. And if he just finishes here, it'll be the finest result he's ever had in the Tour. But I think Levi, because he's free now, not to help his young teammate, but to ride for himself, if he turns out a magical ride today, well, who knows what he can do. 8 in 2002, 9 in 2004, 6th in 2005. He now starts 2007, looking at 3rd place in the Tour, 2nd or 1st. So look at those cleats locked in to the pedals. Levi Leipheimer, the legs freshly shaved as he now takes the start. The countdown is on for Leipheimer, one of the big 3 men who could win the Tour de France. Listen to the crowd.
Well, they know this man has ridden a perfect Tour de France. He's been there all of the time. He's been with all of the main groups when they've gone up the mountains. And I have to feel, Phil, there is a lot of Americans there in the crowd. The Devil's giving him a bit of a shout on.
The Maillot Jaune is getting ready for the start now. At 5:32 is Hoster. There he is. And in the start house is Cadel Evans. Cadel Evans, no Australian has ever podiumed. He's warmed up as well as anybody else. He's ridden the Tour de France twice before. He was 8th in 2005, 5th in 2006. He's now shooting at the win in 2007. The concentration on the face of Cadel Evans here. He comes from Victoria. I know that all of Australia is probably tuned in tonight, their time of course, to watch this, as now even the crowd are silent. They'll cheer in a second. Well, this very popular man drops down the ramp.
He is a great individual time trialist. He was once a bronze medal in the World Junior Time Trial Championships, but this, I think, Phil, is the most important time trial for him. The crowd know it. He knows it. He has to now pull out something very special indeed. He has to beat Alberto Contador by 2 seconds for every kilometre of the race here this afternoon. He knows it, he will have calculated it, and he will be waiting to see what the time check is. You can be absolutely certain we've only got 3 time checks out on the course at 17, 35 and 50 kilometres, but I'm sure that Predictor Lotto have got people all along the route this afternoon to give him time checks on how he's doing against one man. He's not really worried, I don't think, about Levi Leipheimer in front of him. He's concerned about how much time he can pull back on Alberto Contador.
Sterling performance, back to the start out for the big one. So Alberto Contador sits now on the start line. This young man who came at 24 years of age to win the white jersey, he's got that. He's now shooting at the yellow jersey, and in the following car behind is the man who's won the Tour 7 times, Lance Armstrong, who is there to shout for Alberto Contador all the way home. He starts the Tour with a gap of 1 minute and 50 seconds advantage. He gave away 3 seconds yesterday in the bunch sprint, and looking at the pictures, I think the judges, it was a very strange decision to split time that peloton yesterday. He was the loser. Now he's going to prove he didn't need 3 seconds to win the Tour de France. Oh, the reflection of the ramp in his eyes. You can see the start line now for Alberto Contador, up the road by just under 3 minutes. He's made his start, Cadel Evans. Mano a mano, those 2 riders, we won't know for 17 kilometres who has got the advantage, but Contador has launched off now, and he has the advantage on departure. 1 minute 50 seconds over Cadel Evans.
This is the yellow jersey. We won't get any idea of how he's performing till a little bit later on. I can only tell you that his style looks good. He's locked in the middle of his handlebars. His machinery is all perfect this afternoon. Solid disc wheel at the back. But the man who he's concentrated on is this man. 3 minutes ahead of him on the road. 1 minute and 50 seconds ahead of him in the overall classification. We're going to have to wait, Phil, for around about 20 minutes to get the first official time check of Cadel Evans. And then 3 minutes later on, we will get the first time check of Alberto Contador.
Here in the Tour de France, but out on the road now. On the left we've got Cadel Evans, on the right a yellow jersey on Discovery Channel, this time not Lance Armstrong, he's in the car. It's Alberto Contador who's trying to fly the flag once again for this great team. 1-on-1, split at the start by 1 minute and 50 seconds as we now await their arrival. They're on the way from Cognac and they're heading to the finish in Angoulême, and so too of course is Levi Leipheimer. He's out to spoil the party for both of them. Let's get down to the action. Here now is Alberto Contador. The last news we received, he was 3 seconds slower at this point than Cadel Evans. Looking at the finishing result, no change at all. Gutierrez, the champion of Spain, waits there. Valverde has gone through the first check, only 11th fastest, 27 seconds off. Here's the one-on-one compared now with Levi Leipheimer and Cadel Evans on the right. Riding extremely. It looks as though Cadel might be losing a bit of time to Leipheimer. It's gone out to 50 seconds now. If he continues to gain like that, he's going to be up alongside Cadel Evans.
Well, my little chart that I always use in the individual time trials shows that Levi Leipheimer is looking for 59 seconds on Cadel Evans. We could see a very big turnaround in the result here this afternoon. This man started a minute 50 ahead of Evans, 2 minutes 49 seconds ahead of his own teammate Levi Leipheimer, but it's all going to be indicated once we get to the first time check. Alberto Contador is out on course.
Well, as we look at the yellow jersey here now, Cadel Evans is about 5 minutes, or Leipheimer rather, is about 5 minutes away from the crucial 17.5 kilometer check, because he started 9 minutes ahead here. No, it's a little bit longer than that actually as he approaches. Valverde has gone through that check in 11th place. Next man to arrive at it will be Jaimar Zubeldi. He hasn't got there yet. And this rider is sweeping up now from the yellow jersey position, the last of the 141 riders left in the Tour de France, Alberto Contador. Cadel Evans here, looking at these pictures, appears to be moving very, very smoothly indeed. But we won't really know the situation until that crucial first check at 17.5 kilometers.
Well, Cadel Evans, just looking at his style here, he's not showing any panic at all. He's a very strong man in this discipline. In the past, we've seen him win races over stage races in the individual time trial, and I'm sure that's in the back of his mind. He's sitting right at the front end of his saddle. He's using a monster gear, but he's not showing any signs of weakness.
He looks good at the moment. But I can tell you that Leipheimer is riding a flat-out time trial. Let's go to the team car of Dirk de Mol, the Discovery Channel man, and see what he's saying to Leipheimer.
I don't know if you're gonna believe me, but you're already a minute and 20 seconds faster than George. A minute and 20 seconds faster than George.
Boy, well, if that is going to make him fly, that'll give him a jet engine, because he is absolutely flying now. Levi Leipheimer, a minute and 20 seconds faster than George. He's also pulled back about 13 seconds on Cadel Evans, and he started the day, don't forget, with that 59-second deficit, 56-second deficit. And there you can see now 21:50 as Leipheimer's gone through that first check in 19:36. Best time for Leipheimer then, 19:36. Last man to arrive at the 17 kilometers. He's nearly a minute and 20 seconds ahead at this point of George Hincapie. It's unbelievable. As we're now looking at Alberto Contador here, he's not there yet. We're waiting for Evans at that 17 kilometer point.
Well, I tell you one thing, that Levi Leipheimer is the only man so far to go inside of 20 minutes at that point, and his position we saw a few moments ago, Phil, was a very savage aerodynamic position. Cadel Evans still looks calm and collected. He still knows what he has to do. Leipheimer 19:35 ahead of Carpets 2014. What is going to be interesting is the time of Cadel Evans when he gets to that time check, because we'll get a chance to see if he's gaining or losing on the American.
We are in the town of Cigogne, and there's the time check banner up there. We're going to know pretty soon. 19:36, Levi Leipheimer has arrived under this time banner. I'm not sure whether they're going to give us a head one, but there's no doubt he is losing ground to Leipheimer, and we won't know if he is gaining time yet on Contador. We believe he is.
Well, my guess is it's around about the 20-minute mark, so I reckon he's lost himself around about 20 seconds. He's come through 14 seconds adrift of Levi Leipheimer at that point.
Well, Leipheimer 19:49, the same for Evans. They've put up on my screen here a second at 14 seconds. So it'd be 19:50 rounded up in the times for Evans at that point.
Well, he's losing time on the American. He started the day with a 1 minute 50-second deficit on Alberto Contador, but 59 seconds lead over Levi Leipheimer. Currently, Alberto Contador is still holding on to the yellow jersey with 1 minute and 35 seconds over Cadel Evans, but Evans is eating into the advantage of the Spanish rider. However, he's losing time on Levi Leipheimer. This could be a situation, Phil, where the top three riders are going to end up very close together going into the final day.
And then what will they do? Because normally the last day of the Tour de France is a day of honour for the current leader of the Tour. They never attack him by tradition. Well, they might well change their ideas tomorrow. We could have three riders still seeing yellow on the road to Paris. Somehow you've got the feeling that's always the way this Tour de France was destined to finish. Anyway, Evans is through now, 14 seconds slower than Leipheimer, waiting for Contador at 17 to go. This is unbelievable times. Levi has hit the high spots today in the time trial. There's no doubt about that. The big question is he going to move into yellow or second place?
But very shortly we will get the time rippling through of the man who started last on the day, Alberto Contador. This, though, is Levi Leipheimer, best time at the first time check of the day, and he's not showing any signs at all of weakening. He's looking for 59 seconds on Cadel Evans, and he's already pulled back 14.
Well, Alberto Contador has gone through in third place at the check. He is 36 seconds behind Leipheimer, which puts him 22 behind Cadel Evans. That's the 17-kilometer checkpoint. So this is absolutely amazing now. The top three in the Tour de France have set the top three times at the 17.5-kilometer check. Leipheimer's best, 19:36. Evans is second best at 19:50. Contador third at 20:12, 36 seconds behind his teammate Leipheimer, who only needs 2:49 to lead the Tour.
I guarantee you now, Levi, if you can keep this speed, nobody can beat you today. Nobody gonna come around you. Nobody. Good.
Oh.
That's it, Levi. Push it, man. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Keep hammering, keep hammering, keep hammering. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. We know this is a hard part, but afterwards you can recall. You love this stuff here. You love this here. Come on, go, man. Come on, come on, come on. And go, man. Go. Go, Levi. Go. Go, Levi. Go.
Well, that's Dirk de Mol, winner of Paris-Roubaix, now a manager shouting at Levi Leipheimer, go, go, go. And if you keep the rhythm, nobody is going to beat Levi. He's absolutely flying. And it looks as though Contador has reduced now. Evans is now only 1 minute 17 seconds, 1 minute 16 seconds behind Alberto Contador in the race for yellow. Evans himself cannot feel safe because Leipheimer is running him down as well. This is going to be an amazing time trial. We're waiting for the 35-kilometer check now. These boys are just burying themselves. Leipheimer there, right onto in that mantis position. Concentration, the shark's teeth on his helmet, enough to frighten anybody. This rider is burning up and setting new times at every point. We've got Alberto Contador losing time. Is he losing it fast enough? Cadel Evans closing in on the yellow jersey to win the race. Cadel, don't look over his shoulder because Leipheimer is closing in on him.
Well, I made a quick calculation. Currently, Alberto Contador has been losing 1.2 seconds per kilometer to Cadel Evans. That is not enough. Cadel needs to pick it up in the second part of the race, but Leipheimer is doing a phenomenal run.
Back with Levi Leipheimer. We're waiting for Levi to arrive now at the next check, which will show us exactly where we stand. There's no doubt the three riders who are top three podium finishers tomorrow in Paris are sharing out this time trial among themselves.
Well, they certainly are. Levi Leipheimer has definitely thrown down the gauntlet. He said before the start of the Tour de France that he felt this Tour would be decided in the individual time trials. More than 110 kilometers of individual time trialing. Alberto Contador is not a great time trialist. Look at the way he's pedaling there. He's keeping that cadence as high as possible, reminiscent of Lance Armstrong, over 100 revolutions a minute, but he is losing time to the Australian.
Well, what an amazing man. He's concentrating so hard here, Contador. He's wandering a little bit on the road. That's not a good sign of a time trialist in full motion. This is the man who is a time trialist. He is locked in position here, nothing moving except those legs of Cadel Evans. He pumps it out. He's heading for that check at 35 kilometers. He's still a little way away. We're waiting for Zubeldia. 3 minutes after that, Sastre to get there. So we're about 7 minutes before Levi Leipheimer gives us the next good news. He'll be best, I reckon. Yes, and now we're looking at Levi Leipheimer reshaping the time trial today. He's gone through the first check in the best time of 19:36. We are waiting now for his arrival at the next check, and he's about 2.5 minutes away, and that is all. Let's go back into the team car now and see what Dirk de Mol is saying in the ear of Leipheimer.
Come on, again, hard part, but you can do it. You can do this, Levi. Come on, come. Push it, push it, push it, push it. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
5, le meilleur temps pour le 15, Carpet 40 minutes 57.
All cheers there from Dirk de Mol.
Come on, use your power, come on. You keep going over the 40 km an hour uphill here. Come on, come on, come on, go, 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 go.
40 k's an hour uphill. Leipheimer needs to slow down for the left-hand bend here as he races in now towards the check at 35 kilometers to go. He's chasing the time of Vladimir Karpitz at 40.57. He's still inside 40 minutes here. So Leipheimer is going to get the best ride here over Karpitz. Just look at this, Paul. 39.36, not quite there yet for Leipheimer at 35 kilometers. He's going to be setting the best time, though, as he comes up to the line, and it is by 11 seconds, I think it was.
Oh, 1 minute and 12 seconds.
I beg your pardon, I couldn't see.
That's a really incredible performance there by Levi Leipheimer. He's absolutely thrashing the time trial here this afternoon, but Cadel Evans is going to be the next man to get to that time check. That is a phenomenal performance by Leipheimer. He could well, Phil, create the massive surprise here this afternoon.
Well, I can tell you that Cadel Evans needs little more than 1 minute now to be the leader of the Tour de France, but he's got to look over his shoulder. He'll be the next man to go through behind Leipheimer. 39.43 is the time of Leipheimer at the moment at that check.
That's a phenomenal performance by the little man from California, the winner of the Tour of California this year.
Well, as we're seeing here, this is Cadel Evans racing. The time is corrected to 39.44 because they round it up to the next minute if it's over 0.5 of a second, rather. So we're looking here now. I like the look of Evans, I have to say, Paul. He's found his rhythm in this last 15 kilometers.
Well, he's pulling time back on the Spaniard at around about a rate of 1.7 seconds per kilometer, which is good enough to win the race by overtaking Alberto Contador. But if he doesn't keep himself in check with Levi Leipheimer, he could see himself lose his position to Leipheimer. Yeah. It's going to be so close, the calculations we're going to have to do on the line.
As we watch Leipheimer going under the 20 kilometers to go banner, reshaping the time checks all of the way. He is at 1 minute 13 seconds ahead of Vladimir Karpitz after 35 kilometers. We're waiting now for the arrival of Cadel Evans at that point. This is really a three-man Tour de France today. Can't recall one quite like it.
I don't think we've ever had a three-man battle on the final time trial stage of the Tour de France in as many years as I can remember. It's very often been a two-man battle, but here it could go any which way you want. The Australian flag there, Phil, flying high for Cadel Evans. Cadel Evans making his way up through that crowd. He knows, though, and he will be getting the information into his ear from his team manager that he has to look at the time of Levi Leipheimer, which has just stopped the clock at that last time check at 39 minutes and 44 seconds. Again, he's the first man to go through that time check inside of 40 minutes.
Well, we're about to find out the latest state of play in this final time trial in the Tour de France. We approach Saint-Genis at 35 kilometers. The face of the Australian, Cadel Evans, he's shooting at the time of Leipheimer. He is going to be a bit slower. Last time through, he was 36 seconds slower. He's going through this time. It's got to get around the corner, unfortunately, and up to the straight. It's going to be second place. He's still going to be much quicker than Vladimir Karpitz, but my goodness me, he has to be a lot quicker than the best man Karpitz earlier, because he's now aiming at Contador and Leipheimer is aiming at Cadel Evans. So Leipheimer went through at 39.44. Now it's at 16.27. He's losing time here, Paul. It's going to be a close final few kilometers in the run for the golden jersey. 35 seconds that will be outside of Leipheimer's time.
Well, he's only got a 25-second advantage now over the American. That's close.
That is incredibly close here. Leipheimer 39.43. Evans has gone through in 40.18 at that second check, which will put him in 40.19 is what the official time will give him there. At that second check, 35 seconds looking for Leipheimer. Is he racing to the yellow jersey? Because he could well be at this moment in time. Welcome back, just in time. This is the arrival of Contador at 35 kilometers now. He's aiming at the third best time. He's tiring a little bit. He's slipped behind now. He's no longer in the top three. A minute 29. He is now down on his teammate who started 2 minutes 49 behind him in real time today. So Contador is in trouble because Cadel Evans started the day at 150 behind him. He's now closing in, but he's not quite as close, of course, as Levi Leipheimer is. This is the situation now. Evans is looking for 55 seconds to take over the yellow jersey at the moment on the road. Leipheimer is the best time at the checks. Evans, Karpitz, Popovic and Contador. Now let's get back into the team car of Dirk de Mol and see what's going on. That plane, it'll never fly, not like Leipheimer.
Come on, you're gonna catch Sastre and you're gonna pass in the classification, Evans. If you keep going like this, come on, stay aggressive. Push it, push it, push it, push it. Come on, dig here. That's it, man. That's it, that's it, that's it. Go, man. Go, 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 go.
Well, he's going to pass Evans if he keeps this momentum up, and he might get just behind his own teammate. Discovery heading for 1 and 2 in the Tour de France here. Contador started well, but I think his energy is leaving him right now. Well, what a remarkable race this is turning out to be. Alberto Contador, 1 minute and 29 seconds lost of the 2:49 to Leipheimer. A little bit less. Evans needs less than a minute, but I think his biggest concern now is not beating Contador, but holding off Leipheimer.
Well, Leipheimer is riding a storming race here, and he's pulling himself closer all the time to Cadel Evans. He's still looking for about 30 or 40 seconds on the Australian. In fact, he's looking for...
He's looking for 24 seconds at the moment, and that's what Leipheimer needs. It's going to be desperately close between Evans and Leipheimer, and by the end of the day, Contador could have gone from first into third spot. Will Leipheimer win the Tour de France? Because he's going to win the time trial. Long way to Paris. We're not there yet, and just who will win the Tour de France is still very, very unclear here. Levi Leipheimer is laying down a claim to certainly winning the time trial, and he's showing us every indication he might do it to win the yellow jersey as well. He is totally inspired. That man in front of him is Carlos Sastre, who he has caught for 3 minutes. Now, you don't need a bigger inspiration than that if you've just closed 3 minutes on the Spanish rider in front. Leipheimer going past the man who is sitting in 4th place in the Tour de France. Well, that just shows you how well Levi is riding today. He is probably riding the finest time trial we have ever seen him ride, and we've seen him ride some pretty good ones over the years. I have to say, Paul, we've never seen Levi ride like this. We've seen him ride brilliant time trials, but this one is very, very special. He's seeing yellow, and he's just going for that yellow jersey as best he can.
Well, I think that's the important thing you say, Phil. He is seeing yellow. He's seeing this as a massive opportunity of winning the Tour de France here this afternoon. We talked about the battle between Cadel Evans and Alberto Contador, but we may well have been not focusing on the right man, because Levi Leipheimer has, as we've always said, ridden a pretty perfect Tour de France. So too has Cadel Evans. He knew that the race would be won in the individual time trial, and that position, that aerodynamic position of his, may well be giving him the advantage in this 55.5 kilometer test. I mentioned 55.5 kilometers, Phil, because I think the last 500 meters of this time trial today could decide who actually wears the yellow jersey at the end of the day, because the last 500 meters is a very nasty kick up to the finish line.
It's going to be seconds across the board. Look at the face here of Alberto Contador. This is actually taken from our helicopter, not from a motorcycle, and you can see just how hard it is here. He's no time to think yellow. He's just got to go as fast as he can. Zubeldia, by the way, has gone through in 16th place at the third check, so we're closing in on the arrival of Levi Leipheimer, followed by Cadel Evans, followed by the yellow jersey. Saster's keeping Levi in his sights. Well, this is an incredible ride. It's just a little bit of a tiring sign here from Levi as he tries to find his rhythm again on this climb. He's heading up, don't forget, towards the 50-kilometer checkpoint. Zubeldia and Leipheimer has passed Saster for 3 minutes, so he's getting very close to the time check there. Cadel Evans is still 43 seconds in his time checks behind the time he was behind 150 this morning on yellow. So he's still closing in on Contador, but Leipheimer is closing in on them both. Just to remind you of the checks at the second check, Leipheimer leading by 35 over Evans. Well, this is an incredible sight here. Saster's trying to hold Levi Leipheimer in sight as he can. Well, this is Alberto Contador as he now tries to save his yellow jersey, but he wouldn't be too unhappy, I guess, if it went across to the man who's done all the work for him in the Tour de France, Levi Leipheimer, because that's the way it could go at the moment. As it looks as though Cadel Evans is now closing into 40 seconds of yellow, but we're not too sure exactly where Levi is as he heads up here in the town to his second checkpoint. This will be the 50.1 kilometer checkpoint of the 55. Now, I think we can go back down. I should imagine by now Dirk de Mol is almost as hoarse as I am. Let's go and find out.
Go, Levi, go, man, go, stay aggressive. Keep hammering, keep hammering. Come on, we're on the top there. That's the top, that's the top. Go, man, go, go, go.
Well, it looks as though they got permission to go past Saster, which means that Levi now has gone much further ahead over the top of that hill. Oh, yes, he's way up the road. This is Contador. Still waiting to see. Leipheimer's gone through, yes, in 57 minutes and 14 seconds for 50 kilometers, Paul. That's about 31.5 miles in 57 minutes.
Unbelievable, the ride that Levi Leipheimer is doing here this afternoon. And I'll tell you what, I've got a funny feeling that when Cadel Evans gets to that time check, Cadel may well have gone behind Levi Leipheimer in the overall classification. A few moments ago, they were only separated by 10 seconds in the virtual overall classification for the race of supremacy. Leipheimer now is at 3 kilometers to go. It's reasonably flat here, but that last 500 meters to the finish line, Phil, that is going to hurt these men.
Well, at the moment, Team Discovery, and we've got to wait for Evans to get there, could be taking top 2 places here in the Tour de France before we go to the final day. Because Contador was a minute 29, but he had a little bit more in hand. He's got another minute 20 to lose to Leipheimer on what remains of this course. Leipheimer now 11 seconds at these time checks as far as we can work out. The clock will reveal all when Cadel Evans gets to this 50-kilometer check. Then he will have 5.4 kilometers to race to the line. He's racing for the yellow jersey, but is the man behind him going to spoil the party?
Well, at the second time check, Cadel Evans had lost 35 seconds on Levi Leipheimer. Yes, he pulled back time on the Spaniard who was leading this race at the start of the day, but he seems to be losing time with every kilometer and every pedal stroke now, Phil, to the man who wears number 111, Levi Leipheimer. And this is a very difficult part of the course. This is on the other side of the town of Angoulême, the climb up to the time check at 50.1 kilometers.
Now back to Evans. Cadel Evans now sitting second in the moment at the time checks, 35 seconds behind Levi Leipheimer, but that was the check at Saint-Genis. We've moved on now 15 kilometers further down the road. We're waiting for Evans to arrive there. He'll be the next man. Leipheimer's now racing towards the finish. He's in the outskirts of Angoulême. Back to the team car.
Come on, Levi! You can go faster than this. I know it. I know that. I'm sure. You can go faster. Go, man. Go.
Well, can he really go faster than this? He's already riding at 52 kilometers an hour. Goodness sake, Dirk. He is human, you know, but look at this now. Leipheimer is looking at the long straight up towards the finish now. There's no doubt it's going to be the best time of the day, but what will it be? Here we go, Paul, the long ride to the finish now. Karpitz looked terrific with a 1:4:40. Leipheimer is going to burn this off the face of the map here. We're looking at an average speed of in excess of 52 kilometers an hour.
This is a phenomenal performance here. He's not really worried about winning the stage. I think at this point he's thinking about possibly winning the Tour de France overall. He's going to walk away with the stage here this afternoon, Phil, and it's going to be a phenomenal performance. He's still not even getting out of that skier's tucked down position. That has been his big advantage here this afternoon, and as well the big power in his thighs. He's not even got out of the saddle yet, and he is now.
I'll tell you what, Paul, it counts bad this, because the last 5 kilometers he is 8 seconds behind Cadel Evans at the last time check. That just come through, so he's got to improve that 8 seconds in these last 5 kilometers to get ahead of Evans, so that will count. 1:2:44 for the time, 53.1 kilometers now. That's one of the fastest ever time trials in the Tour de France. Not quite up to the 54 of Greg LeMond, but it'll slot in second or third. But the fact is, he's got to have picked up just those few seconds in that last 5 kilometers. And the question is, did he do it? And we won't find out for a few minutes yet.
Well, it is a big battle now for Cadel Evans. He's now got himself over the hill at the 50.1 kilometer time check. Evans was second at that point, as you said, Phil, but he'd lost himself 51 seconds. He only has 8 seconds left to lose in this last 3 kilometers. Funny how that 8 seconds keeps coming up. And he hasn't yet taken the lead away from Alberto Contador, because Contador is still 38 seconds ahead of Cadel Evans in the yellow jersey race.
It could be a 38-second spread, which, I thought he'd fallen down there, just got over the edge of that. It could be a 38-second race, Paul, between the top 3 riders. It could be even closer than that.
Could
by
be.
the time we go into tomorrow's stage, then what will they do?
It could be even closer than that. It's going to be a massive race, I have to say. Cadel Evans knows that. He knows he has got to go for it here at this point. He's got to make sure that he's got the big chance here of finishing ahead of Cadel Evans and maybe even the yellow jersey. But it's all going to go down to Phil to that last 500 meters. Now, this man is on the terrain that suits him just that little bit more at 50.1 kilometers at the summit of this climb. He may well be able to keep himself in with a chance of conserving his yellow jersey. He knew he would be attacked by Cadel Evans on a stage like this, but he never thought that he would have to push himself to stop Levi Leipheimer taking it away from him.
Leipheimer's 53.1 kilometers an hour is just what he's recorded there. It's one of the fastest time trials ever seen in the Tour de France. It probably slots into the top 3. It's not the fastest. Cadel Evans still needs 33 seconds. I don't think he's going to get it to get the yellow jersey off Contador's shoulders here, and he may find himself sitting even in 3rd place tonight. He's more concerned now with not losing 8 seconds in the last 5.1 kilometers of the race today. Otherwise, he'll be finding himself behind 2 riders on Discovery Channel.
Well, I've just done a couple of quick calculations here. Cadel Evans needs to get to the finish line around about a minute 4:43 if he's going to make sure that he stays ahead of Levi Leipheimer in the overall classification, and it's going to be a tall ask, I think, for him. 1:03.
1 kilometer to go to the finish now, and that's going to be very, very close. 1:03:43. He has to get to the line, otherwise he's lost out to Leipheimer, and he'll be very close, because around about 1.3 kilometers, we could be talking of 1 or 2 seconds either way. This is absolutely a crucial sprint up the straight here, because at all the time Evans was concentrating on the yellow jersey. The man from behind has done the ride of his life here. There is the time of Karpitz, but we're looking at 1:3:43. He's going to have to go a little bit harder, I think. It's an awful long way up this home straight. He is banging out the rhythm on these pedals. I don't think Cadel Evans can win the Tour de France, but at the moment he's been more concerned about hanging on to 2nd place. 1:3:43. He's got to beat to the line. It is going to be a desperate few minutes here. It is still a way up here. He's still got got a few seconds to get up the hill, and he can't quite make it. 1:3:43, those are the figures. We're counting to 1:3:30. Leipheimer is watching this as well, remember. He's looking at second in the Tour de France. If Cadel Evans he's got there. 1:3:35, 50 seconds behind. He had 59. He has pulled out a magical last 5 kilometres.
Unbelievably saved it. He went a second faster than Cadel Evans over that last few kilometres, and that was what was important. But Alberto Contador has just gone through with the 5th best time at 50.1 kilometres covered, and he's already 2 minutes behind Levi Leipheimer. But that's not important. His 2 minutes behind Levi Leipheimer may still keep him in with a chance and a shot at the yellow jersey. He knows what this course is like, and he comes now into the shouts of the crowd. They want maybe the yellow jersey to win. This is what it looks like at the 3rd time check on the road, 50.1 kilometres covered. It would be Alberto Contador, Cadel Evans, and still Levi Leipheimer. But has Alberto Contador still got enough in his legs, Phil, to get himself over these final few kilometres?
Well, I tell you what, Cadel Evans pulled out something very, very special in that last 5 kilometres, because it looked as though Leipheimer was all over him, and it wasn't to be. He only had 8 seconds to spare, and he actually got home by 9, so he actually went quicker than Leipheimer over that last sector of the course. But of course, while being preoccupied by the whereabouts of Leipheimer, Evans has always been shooting at Contador, and this man has pulled out also. One of those races inspired by wearing yellow. I think he's done enough. What would be his time to lose the jersey, Paul?
Well, I tell you what, now he knows exactly what he has to do to get himself to the finish line. Cadel Evans crossed the line in a time of 1:03 and 35 seconds. The man behind him has got to cross the line in a time of 1:05 and 25 seconds, and that is a big ask for this man. He's lost time throughout the whole of this time trial here this afternoon, Phil, but he's probably got that little bit left in his legs to sprint up to the finish line.
Well, he's riding extremely well. He started the day, remember, 1:50 in hand over Cadel Evans. He lost 3 seconds in the sprint yesterday. That could have been crucial, and you can see why now. But in fact, he's just hanging on in there, not by a lot. What's the worst time he must reach the line? In 1:05:25. If he beats 1 hour, 5 minutes, 25 seconds, I think we can say he'll win the Tour de France.
We can, but if it's all a question of time bonuses on the line tomorrow, there are time bonuses available for the sprints on the Champs-Élysées, and what kind of a race is that going to be? He'll have to call on George Hincapie to go out and battle it out with Cadel Evans. This man now, Phil, is the last man on the road. He's not going to beat the time of Levi Leipheimer, that's absolutely certain, but what he's trying to do is keep himself in the yellow jersey. At the last time check, he was still 28 seconds ahead of Cadel Evans. Now he's getting into the final part of the race. He's been in the saddle for an hour, 3 minutes and 32 seconds, and he's coming inside of this final climb. I have a feeling, Phil, he's going to manage to do it, but it's going to be oh so very close.
He goes into the last kilometre, Alberto Contador, with a lead of about 1 minute 50 seconds. He should get the kilometre, although it is uphill. He should be in maybe with 10 or 15 seconds to spare, and that is all. This is going to go down as the closest ever finish in the Tour de France between the top 3 riders, all on the podium. This fight could continue tomorrow, you know. Here he comes now. Forget Vladimir Karpic, who we thought had done the ride of his life. Contador is the man who's done the ride of his life. Look at the face of the rider in yellow.
Don't look at his face, look at the clock, because for Alberto Contador, Phil, he wants to see less than 1:05:25 on the clock, on the gantry above the finishing line, because if he does that, he'll know that he's still in the lead in this bike race. Yes, the lead is a lot less than it was at the start this morning, but that doesn't really matter when you're looking at the Champs-Élysées. He's still trying to keep that cadence. It's a very high cadence now. He's out of the saddle. 1:04:43. He's looking, Phil, at not very many seconds to go.
I don't know if you could see the man in the car behind is Lance Armstrong, the man who won it 7 times. He part owns this team. It's going to be a good ride for Contador as he now sprints. This man has gone through all kinds of suffering, but he's done it. He's saved his Tour de France by about 20 seconds, I would think. He will win the Tour tomorrow. 23 seconds, we reckon.
Well, that was a phenomenal individual time trial by that man. I'm sure he was inspired by the presence of Lance Armstrong behind him, but we've seen this Tour de France get completely and utterly reduced. It was massive gaps before we came in here. 150 over Cadel Evans, 250 over Levi Leipheimer. Still, this man is going to run out as the overall leader tonight, still over Cadel Evans and still over Levi Leipheimer, but the gaps have been reduced.
Well, that was the ride of his life. He doesn't look very happy, but I don't know why he shouldn't look happy, because he had to produce an incredible time trial there. We'll wait for all the results. He's come in. Leipheimer wins, of course. Second will be Cadel Evans, and Contador, although he's not in the first three, has done the ride probably for fifth fastest. That will give him victory in the Tour de France tomorrow at 24 years of age. It has been a magical time trial, and oh so close across the top of the leaderboard. Welcome back. There is the lovely town of Angoulême. We have seen a ripper of a time trial. The fourth fastest in the history of the Tour de France at 53.1 kilometers an hour. It's been won by Levi Leipheimer, who almost gave Discovery a 1-2 in the classification.
The focus was really on
well, the situation is that Contador has been revived by the fact he had the yellow jersey on. He has now kept his yellow jersey, but we are faced with a situation of a spread of only 31 seconds on top of the three overall. This was the man who set the test at every point. He left the blocks full of determination and fired up. He was really aiming to beat the man who was ahead of him, Cadel Evans. He set out with that in mind. He was already up at Cadel when he set the first check at 17.5 kilometers. By the time he got down to the finish, he was way ahead of everybody else who'd finished before him at 53.1 kilometers an hour. So he's now doing the time equal to Lance Armstrong and Miguel Indurain. So it's been a day for Levi Leipheimer. But watch out for Cadel Evans. He knew he had to do the ride of his life. He left looking for 1 minute and 50 seconds over the rider who would start behind him. He almost got it. In fact, he closed in the end to just 23 seconds behind him. He actually took down 1 minute 27 seconds on what was a great ride. He had to pull out something special, because in the last 5 kilometers, Levi Leipheimer was only looking for 8 seconds to go over him in the overall classification. I don't know where Cadel found it from, but in that last couple of kilometers, he destroyed himself to lose no time and in fact go a second quicker than Leipheimer over those last 5 kilometers. So he saved his second place. What a day. As we go down now to see the stage winner. Well, there he is, Paul, fully deserved, not just by the fact he's done such a great time trial, but by the fact he is now a stage winner for Discovery Channel. You know, he spent his whole tour, he's never complained about the fact he started as team leader. He's pushed out by this young kid, he's helped him, put him where he is, and he still does a ride like that.
Well, the other impressive thing as well is he helped with Alberto Contador to try and dislodge Michael Rasmussen on the big stage that went up to the summit of the Col de l'Aubisque. So not only was he a team worker and a team helper throughout the race, this was his goal before the start of the Tour.
Well, there he is, shaking hands with everybody. That's a big time trial win today for Levi Leipheimer. Double time trial win in Tour de Cala, time trial win at Tour de Georgia. Let's have a look. The Michelob Ultra overall standings.
Levi, can you describe what it felt like to stand on the biggest podium on the biggest race in the world?
It was what I've always dreamt of. I've always dreamed of winning a stage in the Tour de France, especially a mountain stage or a time trial. Something that are my strengths, and I think after today I feel like I really deserve to stand on the final podium tomorrow in Paris. I'm very happy.
Can you tell us a little bit about what you were going through out there on the course with Dirk yelling in your ear, so many emotions? What did it feel like? Yeah,
I mean, I was already experiencing joy halfway through the race, because he said that I was going unbelievably fast and he was giving me my split times, and I knew that I had enough time to play conservative in the corners and make sure that I kept enough energy for the end, and so I was able to really enjoy it, and I think my emotion took over and I went faster and faster.
Thanks, Levi. Tomorrow, you're so close to Cadel Evans. Is there any chance, we had a little issue with Vinokurov a few years ago with you, is there any chance you're going to go for those valuable time bonuses?
You know, I think Alberto's going to win the Tour, and I'm in third, and I think we're happy with that. Tomorrow we're going to relax, and Cadel doesn't have to worry. I'm not going to try to sprint him. I'm not going to try to pull a Vinokurov on him.
Thank you, Levi.
Thanks.
A gentleman to the end there, Levi Leipheimer. Yes, his first ever stage win in the Tour de France. He first started riding it in 2002. But it was about the yellow jersey. It was about a 24-year-old. It was about a rider on Discovery Channel who finally became the leader of the team on the last weekend of the Tour de France. He came to the start line knowing the odds were against him. 1 minute 50 is buffer to Cadel Evans, a distant 2:49 to Levi Leipheimer, and Cadel Evans went for him in a big way. And this man mid-race looked as though he was beginning to lose the Tour de France to Cadel, and at the same time, where was Levi Leipheimer, because he was pushing Cadel as well. But he pulled out something very, very special at the sprint, and he saved his yellow jersey by just 23 seconds.